Hey guys, how's it going? This is Bharat and welcome back to yet another live stream. I promised you guys to come up with a lot of different videos in this one, but over the last couple of weeks, and also a lot of you might know that I live currently in Chennai, India. So there's been a lot of floods that have been going around, and due to these floods, it's been difficult to make videos. A lot of power cuts, and all of this has been done as a precaution. So like it is very difficult for me to make videos, and that's the main reason why I could not come up with videos this week. So this video I'm going to be helping you guys out, all of you guys out, with a lot of questions. So basically you're going to have a lot of Q&A sessions. I'll come up with an answer of your questions, but importantly I'm going to be giving you guys a step-by-step detailed way of targeting programming, or if you guys thinking of starting to learn programming in 2021, I'm going to be helping you guys out with a lot of new tricks and tips that I have, and also things that I've learned over the past 6 years, which has helped me. So everybody has this kind of new year resolution to maybe start learning programming, or if you maybe 25 and you want to shift gears and change career, you may be even 40 and you want to change career. So this video is going to help you guys out. So we'll cover all of that in the first 20 minutes of this video, and post that I'll also take a lot of questions. Obviously I'll be taking questions to this live. So if you guys have any other questions to discuss, post that. We'll have another 25 minutes of extended video. So all of you guys who are interested to watch, definitely stick on, and probably we can get started. So I had posted a community post today early morning about what are the topics that I want to discuss as part of this video, and I have few things that I'm going to be discussing, primarily starting with how to start programming in 2021. And that is a very important question a lot of you guys have asked, and this is also most importantly about every year, what is the language that is sticking up, or what is the language that is interesting to learn. Those are always the questions that come up to me, and I'm going to be discussing about that. And the second question is, what is the proper technology for future? So obviously everybody wants to be future ready. You want to learn Flutter. I predicted Flutter in the last year. If you see, I started talking about Flutter in the year of 2019, and I said that 2020 is going to be a great year for Flutter, and boy, it was definitely a great year for Flutter lovers, Flutter developers. A lot of you people have been learning it, and also it's been like a great thing for a lot of you new developers out there. So that is obviously there, and I'm going to be discussing what are the future technologies that you should know about, and also as part of this video. The third important thing is, what age should you start the preparation? And this is again similar to the one that I told in the introduction. I'm 25, I'm 26, I'm 27. Is it a good age to pick up programming, or is it a good age to shift gears and change another career in programming? I know personally a lot of people who have been about the age of 35, 37, and they have been working in construction or business development for a long time, and suddenly out of blue they took up this course in some website, and they learned the basics of programming, and they were competing for an equally paid, high paid software development job. So there is no age, no limit when it comes to programming and computer science in general. So I'm going to be discussing what age should you start your preparation. If you're starting early, if you're in college, and if you're just in the first year or second year of college, what you should be doing. I'm going to be targeting that as well, and also effectively build your programming knowledge. That is important, because you cannot build everything in just 6 months of time. That is another big myth. A lot of courses say that you can build a programming knowledge in just about, I would say, about what you in a matter of 3 months. which is not possible. You got to have this consistent understanding of programming maybe over 2 years or 3 years, and that is going to help you guys in understanding programming in full. So I'm going to be discussing how do you effectively build the programming knowledge, and finally I'll also teach you guys how to in 1 year build a complete portfolio. I'm not talking about programming learning, I'm talking about building projects and how do you build a portfolio, and you can be future ready and also be apply for a lot of different companies using your portfolio. If you guys follow me in LinkedIn or Instagram, you will for sure know that I am helping out people in terms of building resumes, in terms of building even correcting the resumes and all of that. So in that space, I always thought like people have to have a better understanding of resume building, and that's why I dedicated a series of videos for that. And also on fan interviews, companies like Facebook, Amazon, Netflix, and Google, how do you target those things, right? That's obviously always the question, that's always the dream for a lot of people. How do I go to the Google summer code camp, or how do I get this internship at Google, how do I get this internship at Amazon? I've been there, I've done that. So also I've talked about that in particular over a series of videos. So I'm actually now working with the Code Chef as well as the Unacademy on a partnership. I'm going to be giving you a very small shout out here as part of this because at the start I think that is important that people who have been doing that, these people have a very dedicated course on basics of programming and all of that sort, and it's also important for me to tell that they have done a very good job. And I've dropped a link in the description about them. They have a lot of free classes in unacademy.com, and if you guys are interested, you can go definitely check them out and let me know what you guys feel. So that's what I'm going to be talking about in this video. So let's get started with the first step. I have few things here. I hope my audio is my audio is fine. If not, I'll try to increase my input. Okay, I'm actually currently in terms of like changing my room and desk setup and everything. I'm going to be coming out with a video on that. So let me hope that this audio is fine. If the audio is not fine, definitely don't drop a comment. Like just drop a comment saying the audio is not fine, and I'll be able to pick it up. So alright, so let me get started. There are a lot of things obviously I want to discuss as part of this video. Alright guys, so let's get started because I got a lot of things to discuss obviously, and thanks for the correction on the audio. Hope this is fine now. Alright, so I was talking about the topic number one, which is how to start programming 2021, and this is the topic for this video also, and I want to discuss about in detail targeting, especially programming, which is very important. Basics of programming is always very important. I've got a lot of people who do not understand the basics of programming, yet they call themselves as a web developer, full stack developer, which is not possible. You could be a designer, and so you can like become a full-time designer. You could become a full-time artist, and it's like saying I don't understand the concept of colors, but I'm still an artist and a full-time designer, which is not possible, right? So similarly, programming also requires that you understand the basics of data structures, understand the basics of algorithms. And over the last month, again this month, I have talked about that. In particular, I've talked about why programming is very important. Programming basics is very important, how you can better that, and how you can also target a lot of important structures, data structures and algorithms. What are the common mistakes people do? If you guys are interested, go check that out. But in brief, what I'm going to be targeting is that number one, if you're going to start learning to code in 2021, start with the programming and data structures. And the most important mistake that a lot of people do, which I hope you guys don't do, is pick a good course material. There are a lot of books out there, programming head first into like the programming for dummies. Lot of data structures books available out there, but there are also really good courses. There are also free courses out there which are really good. I have given my recommendations over the last month. If you guys are interested, you can check that out. But if not, if you're learning programming from college, a traditional BE computer science engineering or a BSc in computer science, you have to start with a very good course material and understand the basics of data structures and algorithms. You needn't become so much into so much in depth into algorithms and data structures, enough to build an academia. Like you have to like build a paper. I'm not saying about that. You don't have to do a very in-depth understanding. Instead, you got to understand the basics of it first, because that's going to give you guys the pathway to becoming a good programmer in 2021. All right, next question is obviously what is better for me, right? What is the one software technology stack which I have to learn? And if I learn that software technology stack, I'm going to become I don't know, maybe the next Jeff Bezos, or maybe the next Elon Musk, because Elon Musk was a software developer before he jumped and started his own company. So what is that one thing that you're going to give me which is going to help me in becoming that? I don't have answers for that at the moment, but the answer that I'm going to be giving you guys is to start understanding what is your favorite stream when you're actually picking up the basics of data structures and algorithms. Not always everybody finds that immediately. I thought my favorite stream was website development. I started as a designer, maybe I would say it's just a learned HTML, CSS and JavaScript, and it kept going one after another. And I thought maybe I was going to become a full stack developer, because I learned PHP also at that point of time. So I thought, okay, maybe I can become a full stack developer and build websites. But soon after that, I started disliking, or I would say I've started losing interest into this, just designing the same stuff again and again. That I wanted to pick up different projects, which when I started learning about mobile application development, I started Android for the first time in my life. It was actually, I had tried to learn Android previously, because previously before also, but at that point I wasn't really sure. Like I wanted to do computer science, I wanted to do website building for a long time. But again, I dropped it off, picked mobile application. It felt good, it felt really good for 2 years. After that, I wanted to become a DevOps engineer, build full stack applications, services. And basically I became service engineer, service as a software developer. And currently I'm working in that space. I also have under knowledge. I'm working in that space in terms of building Echo devices, Echo products, Alexa products, and that's what I'm doing at the moment. So the question is obviously what you want now will not be the same as what you want 5 years down the line. So I would highly recommend you guys to check first the programming data structures and basics first. The basics is really strong. Have a very good depth understanding of what it does, what it says, and what you are going to be doing in the future is completely based on that. It's like learning the alphabets of a language. You are not going to do a historical research on the learning the alphabets. You're not going to understand how A became A or B became B. Rather, you're going to understand that yes, this is there. I'm going to learn the A to Z of the basics, and you're going to learn letters. I'm going to understand what grammar is. I'm going to understand how to form words, and I'm just going to move forward and start writing a novel on my own. Maybe that's what is programming itself. You just understand the basics of it and start moving forward. So again, if you guys are watching it right now until now, I would highly recommend you guys to check out the live courses from the course, the Coach F along with Unacademy partnership. I am working with them right now. They're doing an extremely good job. I've been amazed at how quality of content they are delivering at present. These are all live classes. There are a lot of free classes. I have personally taken a couple of live classes from them. One was on graph theory, which is depth first search, and also one more was on in terms of Dijkstra's algorithms, traversing algorithms. Both of these were live classes which I attended, and it was really good. I have dropped the link in the description. These are free classes. You needn't buy the subscription at first. Check them out, check them and understand what you want. You can get the basics of it completely. You don't have to pay a dime, and you can get the basics of it. So get the basics of it first, and if you are interested in moving forward, you can do a subscription if you want to. But again, I don't want to force or do anything of that sort to you guys. Okay, so that's the first question that I've answered. How do you start programming in 2021, and what is the futuristic technology that I have to learn? Again, this is a very difficult question, but right now what I'm looking at is this trend among microservices and serverless technologies that are going around. Um, I've been working in Amazon for about 3 years, so I've talked about that in a lot of videos. But this trend of microservices has never been this high. To my knowledge, when I started understanding about microservices 3 years back, I knew there were very few services available. There was Heroku, which was a cloud hosting service, and there was AWS, obviously, Amazon Web Services, and there are a lot of different things that you could do through that. Example is AWS Lambda. You could also do AWS. You could spin an AWS EC2 instance, and you could do a lot of things around with that. And thirdly, it was I think Google's Kubernetes. You could run a serverless technology through that, and it was actually very good. It was interesting. But now, over the last year and a half, with the enhancement in terms of Flutter as a front-end programming toolkit, and also there are a lot of other programming toolkits that are now solely depending on serverless technologies to host the backend for them. They don't want to do anything right now. They just want to make a REST call, get the data from the REST server, and publish it to the user. There are a lot of applications that are coming out right now with that dependency, but very little serverless technologies or maybe very little serverless architectures available. I personally have I wrote my first serverless microservice about a year and a half ago, and I was amazed at how useful it was. I could just create a REST API in the instance of probably 5 minutes. I directed my my serverless code through an API endpoint. It was hitting it in almost like 300 milliseconds. It was extremely good, and I was actually amazed by it. So my predictions for 2021, obviously, is that I'm looking forward to how Golang is going to perform. Google's Golang or Go programming language, how it is going to perform is going to be an important one for me. And also the Python's Django services, there's a Flask service moving towards serverless technology architecture. I've seen a lot of Python Django changes over the last 6 months. That targeting on hosting these serverless technologies much far faster. So I'm going to be saying the serverless or the microservices angle of technology is going to hold the maybe probably hold the upper hand in 2021. So if you guys are interested, if you guys want to know more about it, you guys can check it out, Google it, and understand how different these things are. And probably there are a lot of things that are going around at this point of time, but I'm positive about Golang. There is also like I said, Python's Django. Also, there are a few things like Rust, which is picking up the hype around the community. Also there are a lot of different languages. Like there's recent interview that I had when one of the person, he said that there's a programming framework called Kafka. Kafka is again a serverless technology, and all these are picking up pace. Because the primary reason being, people do not want to run a traditional server. They don't want to host a PHP server in the backend, run it 24/7. They don't want to do that. They just want something serverless. They just want something lightweight. Just run it just once for every request you run it, right? That's how people are trying to move towards. These are faster, these are cheap, and at the same time they're going to hold fort for next 1 year, maybe 2 years also. So these are just going upward trends that I'm actually seeing. I don't know, I'm going to come back to this video probably 1 year later to check if I'm right. So those are a couple of questions that I've answered so far. I'm going to be moving to the third question, which is obviously, what age should you start your preparation? No, I have a different set of people watching this video, starting from a 16-year-old college student to probably a 40-year-old person who's also, you have pinged me personally, you have DM'd me personally, telling me that so this is my situation right now. I am a beginner, 16-year-old as well as a 40-year-old. I am a beginner, and I have a lot of things to discuss as part of this video, or maybe I have a lot of things to understand. Where should I start? What is the preparation mechanism that I have to take up so that I can develop my understanding of programming in a short span of time? So again, the question of what age should you start your preparation itself is a difficult one to answer, because if you ask a 16-year-old, they will be very, very interested. They'll be very, very, I would say, going around up and down thinking about how cool programming is, how cool computers are. Their understanding of computers will be obviously about Instagram, and the age of Instagram, and probably Snapchat, things like that tends to bring them in. At the same time, a 40-year-old will be very interested to learn more about how to manage a business side of things using a programming knowledge. and how do you understand, basically how do you manage people through programming, like things like that, which are different interests between these age groups. So I'm going to be giving out a very a general kind of an understanding. Age is not going to matter, but how do you learn things matters. At the age of 16, you don't want to start learning, building, how do I build, Google Lens like technology. You don't want to do that. You want to understand the basics first. Just understand what makes things work. Probably you have to keep yourself, interested to move forward. There is no way that you can learn anything, I would say, at age of 16, because you have very little understanding of what exactly things are going around. Your world is very small at the moment. You think Snapchat is everything, you think Instagram is everything, and at the same time you have very little company understanding. There are at present there are close to 1,000 different frameworks that a company uses to manage its people. If you are inside that company, you will understand what are these different things, but at 16 you cannot be doing that. You will be going to school, you'll be going to college, you'll coming back from college, you understand there's a college network, then you come back to home, you have your mobile, you understand there are different applications in that. And that's basically how the things are, or that's how the experience of a 16-year-old is going to be. So that brings me to the question of how do you start preparation. You're at 16 years old. I would highly recommend you guys to start picking up what is important. The important things are the programming basics. You gotta understand how programming works, how basically the things are as simple as uh, what are data structures and algorithms. How do I understand the programming language? How do I get myself better at C++? How do I get myself better at C? And also start picking up basic things like start designing a website, understand how a web framework works, and things like that. You move forward. That's a learning curve that I would recommend. At 40 years old, if you are at 40 years old, 40 is a very big number. I would say 25, 27, you are going to start something new for the first time. I would highly recommend you guys to start understanding what is the end goal that you have. Most of the times, people are professionals who are working. These are professionals who are already have a day job. They already want things to be done, and basically they want to get things done faster. They also do it in the shop, maybe a part time, or maybe they're trying to learn things in just about 2 hours a day time. So I would really recommend you guys to have a goal, have an end goal. So I want to understand about product development, or I want to understand about business development, people management. There are a lot of frameworks for that. So how does that work? How do I get myself better at understanding that? Those stuff are very, very important. Myself personally know a person who is a CEO of a company, and I was actually amazed he already has a BE, an MBA, a master's. And at this point of time, after having getting 3 degrees in a different, nothing related to computer science, probably he would have been exposed to a little bit of programming in BE, but nothing more than that. So at about 28, I would say 27, 28 age, he was very interested to learn about R and Python for data engineering, data management, right? So he was very interested to learn about that, and he took a very short course, and he's writing R programming, learned R programming and writing R programming code to understand about data management or data engineering. Just understanding how data works, how do you collect data through that. And that the main goal for him was to understand that, because he was the CEO of the company. He wanted to understand how the data is being handled by his own team. So he wanted to understand that. So that was his goal, and he completed understanding R in about 6 months of time. That is because it was a targeted learning. 6 months of his time was going to be spent on learning how to manage people. So that was his targeted learning, and that's how he picked up programming. So age of 16 is different from age of 27, 28, where you have your different things to do in life. You have different things to understand. So I would highly recommend you guys to get to know what you want first, and then go forward, which will be very, very easy to learn programming at that age. Alright, so I've answered 3 questions till now, and let's move on to the fourth question. Alright, this is very important. How do you effectively build a programming knowledge? Programming is not just something you build in a one day's time, 2 days time, or maybe even 1 year, 2 year. Yeah, I'm about six. I'm going to complete 6 years. I found out my first code check-in to GitHub 6 years ago. It was about same time, I would say previous, last month same time, 6 years ago. So I've completed, I would say, 6 years of writing code, starting from writing crappy code, like I would copy paste code from websites, I copy paste code from some forums, put it into my .html file, see how it works and things like that. I started from there and I've come to now where I can build software stacks on my own. I have freelanced projects. I've done a lot of freelance projects, and also most importantly, I've actually done a lot of things over the last 6 years. I've written a lot of code. I would say about million line of code. I would say that's at least what I've done. So after doing this much, I still feel like I haven't learned a lot of things around programming. I still want to get better at learning machine learning. I would say at some point, and I want to do something with respect to cognitive vision, computer vision. I've always been wanting to do that. So what exactly do you think is the programming knowledge? Programming knowledge is when you are comfortable with any language. There could be any language that you want to pick. I've learned Python, I've learned Java, but I feel like at the end of the day I can pick up any language because it's obviously very easy for me because I've already known the basics of programming. I've already understood the basics of data structures and algorithms. I can understand the syntax, I can pick syntax up very well. So I think that is the gap that I have for myself. That is the metric that I have for myself, that okay, I've done so far 6 years of writing code, and this is the metric that I'm going to gauge myself by. And that's what I'm also going to gauge anybody who asks me what is the programming knowledge that I have to get to move forward. You can be a competitive programmer. That means that you have to learn a minimum of 100 different algorithms. You got to keep that in mind, practice that almost every day, make sure that you don't forget it. Or you could be a product developer like myself, and that point you have to be able to complete a project given amount of time. So that's obviously amazing amount of things that I've done over the last 6 years. So programming knowledge is when you understand that this is what I'm going to be doing. This is what I have done so far, and I'm comfortable at the next step. I'm not going to think, I'm not going to get stuck by moving to the next step. I should not be that way. If you feel that you're stuck, if you feel like you're stuck understanding what this means or what this framework does, that means that you have to go forward. You have to learn. In average, I know a principal engineer who has been in the industry for 23 years, and the other day he sent a mail saying that this is something very new to me. I learned this out of over my last 23 years of writing code, and especially over 15 years of 10 years of writing Python code. I have never understood or I never learned about this specific concept in threads with Python. So that was an amazing thing to see actually, because this person has learned or written Python for 10 years, but still he says that today I learned something new. And that's how important programming is. So you can never build that entire A to Z knowledge with programming, but you can get comfortable. The space where you get comfortable with the syntax, the space where you get comfortable with writing code, understanding how something works. I would say that's the metric. That's where you should try to reach. You have to keep putting effort. You got to keep putting your time into things, building things, or else you can never get to that stage. And that's important, I feel. You could be doing it in 2 years of time, you could be doing it 3 years of time. There are a lot of people have a lot of different years to complete, and I feel that that's how life is, right? You got to put some time into things to make sure that you want to see yourself good or bad. There are people who have spent 15 years of their life and they've just got a new break. So that's important for me, I would say. So those are the things. I've answered 4 questions now, and the last question, I have few questions on the live chat as well. I'm going to answering all of that. Hi everybody. Technology Hub, hi, how's it going? Dikshit Reddy, yes, I remember you. And PDXYT, yeah, do you degree is a very difficult question to answer. I'll be answering that. Let me finish the last point that I have. So how do you create an effective portfolio in 1 year? That's a difficult, I would say difficult. That's a very targeted question. That's why I put it at the last. Oh, you still cannot hear me fine? My audio is very less. Let me check. I've kept it at 100% then. I usually keep my mic very close, but what I've done now is that I'm actually having an hanging mic right at this point of time. So I think it's a lesson for me to learn. I hope this is fine now. I have it very close to my mouth. Anyway, so let's jump to the last question. So I've actually written down a very targeted question. How do you create an effective portfolio in 1 year? As my last point, because I built it in 1 year. To be very honest, I did not know there's something called a portfolio that existed. I always thought like, okay, I can put like I've done this, I've done that, and people are going to ask me where is it. So I wrote few things like I think you can see now my mic is right here. So what I'm trying to do is I want to have hanging mic so that it doesn't like obstruct my view. Anyway, so okay, so the question is, building a portfolio in 1 year is definitely easy, given that you have a targeted idea in your head. I picked up five. So I was this was me. I was in my third year of college. I was supposed to build a resume and give it to my college, submit to my college so that they can submit for obviously the placement opportunities and everything. I had about 8 months to 10 months in my hand from my starting of my third year to my ending of third year, so that by end of third year I can submit it. So what I did was in my first January, I would say, no, I would say it was about September or maybe August. From August to the July of the next year, I had about 10 to 11 months. I wrote and I built close to 5 different projects. All of these projects weren't as big as like a full stack developer or anything of that sort. I still had already had freelancing experience before that, but what I did was I targeted this 11 months to build 5 projects on different things. First was website. The second one was a server side. It was a server which was going to give my movie name suggestions when I type it, with little bit of NLP involved, just a little bit of natural language processing was involved. And the third one was a mobile application, which I did with my friend also. And the fourth one was about, again, was a website, which was about a UI website, which is just some cool shapes and stuff like that. And fifth one was again a simple mobile application, but this time it was going to give me, do some little bit of load balancing around the web or on the mobile application. And all of these are actually available projects. But what I did was I didn't copy paste any code. I have put a series of videos on my channel about what are the 5 different things you can do with Flutter, or what are the 5 different projects that you can do with Flutter. Again, also mobile applications that you can do with Flutter. So a lot of different videos like that. So I watched a few of these videos. I picked up few of these videos and took down what was easily doable for me, and I started working on that with the next 11 months. By end of 11 months, I had this solid amount of programming, and to show that I've done things, and also put all of that in GitHub without fail. I put it in GitHub. I updated my readme page. I put some screenshots of all the websites and all the mobile applications. I built a decent portfolio, and from then on, from my third year of college till now, I have written or built close to 25 different applications, websites, and all of that sort. Whatever I can put it for public, there are a few freelance projects that I cannot, obviously I can paste the code for public because these are private entities. I cannot paste that. But whatever, whenever I find free time, I just put some public code and just keep the GitHub page keep on updated. And that is very, very important, because this portfolio is going to speak. This portfolio is your resume, and nothing else is going to be. We are moving towards that space right now, with LinkedIn coming into picture, where you don't have to upload your resume. You just have to click a button and your profile is obviously sent to the recruiter. And that's how people are moving, and I wanted my GitHub page to be really good. And for now, if you check some of my GitHub links, it opens to me opens to the GitHub page that I have specifically for this channel. So there'll be Flutter code, there'll be Dart code, there'll also be some Python code, things like that. I also have my personal or things like that I've been doing for the last 4 years in my GitHub, another GitHub profile, which I try to keep updated. I try to keep things updated on that as well. So that's what I've been doing over the last 3-4 years. So the question is, if you want to build it in 1 year, just pick any of the videos that I've put, top 5 applications that I can do, not just mine. You can even check out things about people who have done it from a lot of different channels, like Tech with Tim. There's also Kelly Hayden, who has done a lot of videos on that. There's Hitesh Chaudhary, there's Code with Harry, and a lot of these people have put all these top 5 videos that you can build with your applications, or top 5 things that you can build, and just pick out ideas from that and implement them in the next 10 months, and you'll build your portfolio much faster. So these are going to be helpful for people who are beginning to do things in 2021. I really appreciate anybody or everybody who's going to be starting to learn programming 2021. If you are trying to do anything of the 5 things that I have told, I have talked about 5 different questions or points in this video. You can definitely let me know what you guys feel about that in the comment section below, because this is a live video. Again, this is live stream. Again, I told you the reasons for making this as a live stream. So that's what this video is all about. So if you're interested, you can definitely let me know about what you guys feel, and I'll be answering your questions in the comment section. Now it's time to move to the live stream again and answer a few of the live chat questions, and let's do that. All right, so I'm going to be taking live chat questions now. All of you people who have any questions, you can drop that and I'll be happy to answer. So the first question is PTXYT. Do I really need a degree? It's a very difficult question. So can I ask, which country are you from? Are you from India or are you from somewhere else? Because each country has a different opinion on this, and I really appreciate the different opinions. There's a lot of things that you can do, but if you are from an Indian country, and if you are trying to build, or if you're trying to live in India for the next 5-10 years, you will definitely need a degree. This is not just because of the social constructs that we have, like you need a degree to live, or anything of that sort, but Indian education system is built around that paper called as degree. So that's what is this constructs in India is about. So if you are an Indian, you definitely need a degree, and you definitely need at least a couple of degrees. That means that you need a bachelor's. Probably if you can get a postgraduate also, it's amazing. But computer science, you are definitely need a BSc or a BE to be accepted by companies basically from India. That is primarily because that's how the Indian education system is revolving around. You can say anything about any other country, but even if you're from some other country like in the United States, or if you're from Europe or UK, you still will need a degree, because as far as computer science programming is concerned, there are a lot of channels that I've seen who say that you don't need a degree, you can just learn this thing in a boot camp. Nobody will appreciate. Yeah, there are a lot of people, there are few set of people who have definitely done a lot of great things in their school life, and they have obviously just moved from the school life to working as a software developer or anything of that sort. But your college, your basic degree gives you that enough push that you need. College is not just about getting a degree, it's also about meeting people. You meet people, you understand, you network, you talk things, and you do things as a team, and that team kind of a spirit and that team kind of an atmosphere is what companies nowadays are targeting. You needn't get a degree just by going to a college, but if you're going to get an online degree, again, it also is also as a question of how do you interact with people. That's again interesting question. So on the topic of degrees itself, if you're from India, there is no other way, you gotta definitely get a degree. Even from you, if you're not from India, I would highly recommend you guys to get basic degree, as in get qualified in terms of bachelor's, because whatever we say, whatever you think, at the end of the day, there has to be some metric by which companies has to gauge people. They cannot just say that okay, this guy is amazing on paper, and how do I trust that? There's a question of trust that comes into picture. How do you trust this evaluation? And the degree is going to give you that. You needn't always be a bachelor of engineering or bachelor of science in computers itself. You could have a degree from something else. You could have a degree from basic arts or commerce and anything of that sort, and still learn computer. Computer companies do not want degrees, like they want computer knowledge. So if you can prove that, it's fine. But if you are in Indian construct, degrees must. Basic degrees are definitely a must. So that's what I'm going to be answering that question with. Alright, so technology hub is like, which language are you currently using in Amazon? I'm currently using Python full time with Python, but also I have projects which are using Java and Hibernate as a framework. I'm not sure if a lot of you know that. So Java Hibernate is a combination I'm using, and Python, it's Python and Flask. There's a lot of serverless applications that I'm working on right now. I've also worked on internal languages. We have few internal languages in Amazon which a lot of you might not know about. I've worked on that as well, and there's also things that I do, like Android is definitely a must, because Echo products work on Android and things like that. So yeah, the combination, there isn't one language that I'm currently working on. It's a combination of different things, and also a combination of different things, different places, and different projects coming into together. So that's what I'm currently doing with Amazon. All right, any other questions that we can keep going for another 11 minutes? I would say 10 to 11 minutes, and I'll be trying to finish things off here. And the first 35 minutes was targeted towards anybody who wants to start programming in 2021, and I'm really happy that that a lot of you guys have joined this live stream at the moment, because I think it's important. We're closing 2021 and I have a lot of videos coming up this month. Like I told you at the start of this month, I could not make any videos primarily because my house was hit by the rain. There's been incessant rain for the last couple to 3 days. This 3 day rain just destroyed my, I would say, my room specifically, being in the basement. So my room just got a lot of water in, and it was on the floor and near my window. So if you can see that I've changed rooms at the moment, this is a different setup at the moment. I've changed rooms, so I'm going to be trying to make videos in the upcoming months. I've got a lot of setup upgrades also I'm doing, so I'll try to talk about that as well in the next month. And also a lot of different technologies that I'm going to talk, tutorials are also coming up. So just stay tuned for all of that. So let's go to the next question, which is again, what if I already have a degree on electrical and electronics? That's amazing. Then if you already have a degree, then you got to understand, if you already have a degree on anything of that sort, which means that you already equipped with the basics of things. Every degree is comprehensive. Every basic bachelor's degree is comprehensive, meaning they teach you things like how do you build, how do you solve a problem, what is the logic or what is the problem solving techniques that you use. So everything is like that, everything is around that. So if you already have a degree around that, you can definitely pick up computers. I know multiple people, or a lot of people who have an understanding or who have a degree from in civil engineering, and still they're doing computer, then they're working in a software development job. So it's not, computer is not dedicated, it's not specific to just one set of people alone. Anybody can pick it up at any point of time, and that's what is amazing about computer science. All right, so next question is Flutter future in India. Okay, there's a lot of things with Flutter. I would say that Flutter in India is a little bit around, still in the nascent stages. There was a funny thing that happened about last week. I had a friend of mine who contacted me regarding a Flutter project, asking me if we can freelance on that. And we sat down, we started building, we started understanding what are the requirements that you want, what are the things that you can do with Flutter, and how can I build this requirement with Flutter and all of that. And there's like close to 7 requirements, 7 different things that the client wanted with the application. And I was just consulting basically. So I said, this is what we want, this is what we can do and all of that. And finally we realized that Flutter is so nascent stage. It's going to take so much amount of time for us to build a production ready application, because the client wanted something like as complex as a geolocation tagger. They wanted something to track live geolocation and all of that, and it was very difficult to do that. So I was talking with another Flutter developer. The person has been, that Flutter enthusiast has been there talking to us in the channel as well, and he was also saying like, Flutter is just a toolkit that you can use to solve your problem. I so far haven't seen a company dedicated to building applications using Flutter. They don't want to lose grip of an Android or an iOS kind of a native development. They just give the option of Flutter as a programming toolkit. They just give that option, but they are not dedicatedly doing anything with Flutter only. And that is important because primarily Flutter is still a nascent stage. If you completely depend on Flutter, and if you're going to spend so much amount of money, close to 5-6 lakh of rupees, or in US dollars, $4,000, $5,000, you'll end up wasting all of that money in just trying to understand how Flutter works. Just this prototyping language, you can do a quick prototype like that, tuck, and you can understand what the production is going to look like. It's pretty much, I would say, in combination. If you use it in combination with both the native and the UI toolkit that comes up with Flutter, it's going to be a good thing for Indian community, Indian building, Indian software developers. But I don't see that option rate increasing any further. It's already been so high this year. A lot of people have adopted Flutter. They've started learning and doing things with Flutter. A lot of Flutter developers, they're just doing things at the moment. I don't see anything going up from the year for the next year. Maybe a marginal increase will be there, unless Flutter does something amazingly great, like unless Google comes out with this Fuchsia project and they're coming out with something amazing with their OS and all of that, maybe then the Flutter again will pick up pace. But until then, if Google is going to stick with Android only and they don't want to do anything else, I don't think anything, not just in India, I don't think the interest is going to go up any further. It's going to just stagnate. People are enthusiasts basically, which is just enthusiastic people doing things, hobbies again, and that's what I feel the trend is going to be for the next 1 year. Um, Again, like I told in the second point for this video, I told a lot of people on previous live streams in 2019 that Flutter was going to be the best thing for 2020, and it did definitely was the best thing for 2020. But in 2021, I feel languages like Go and languages around serverless architectures, like there's one called Kafka, things like that, those things are going to pick up pace. And also I've seen a lot of people picking up Rust as a programming language, primarily. Why Rust has become so famous at this point of time. A lot of you guys have asked me about the M1 recent Mac launch with the M1 chip. And the interesting thing with M1 chip is that the threading system that happens inside the M1 chip is very very similar to the threading system that was supposed to be coming out on Intel chip, Intel i9 10 at 10 gen. So that was supposed to be the Intel thread technology that they're going to use. But what happened was they couldn't release it on time. That's the history that I learned, which this Mac has picked up, the M1 chip has picked up, and they're launching it. They've launched it, and this become super viral. So basically, you can see a 50% increase, close to 50% increase on a single thread for when you compare i9 10 gen with M1. And that's pretty much a big thing, big launch or leap, I would say, in terms of hardware technology. And similarly, that's been the main reason why Rust has also become famous, because Rust is going to work around on the same front. It's also about garbage collection and also about hardware writing, hardware programming language. So basically it's also picking up pace, and I would see those two things going forward in the future, 2021 2022. I would say those things picking up pace. And also the technology wise, it's obviously going to be machine learning and artificial intelligence, a lot of leap fronts with just this M1 core chip. Again, I'm thinking that there's going to be a lot of things that are going to come up in 2021. I'm looking forward to specifically the cognitive science, cognitive vision side of things with the machine learning. I'm also going to be picking up and learning few things in 2021 on that. So those are the things I'm looking forward to. Flutter is just a front-end toolkit. I would say that it's seen as good days, and until Google comes out with the Fukashi projects to pick up this, ride this wave, nothing much is going to happen. It's going to remain, or I would say, marginal increase in interest. And in India, I don't think a lot of people are, at the moment completely adapting or adopting Flutter. So those are things I'm looking forward to, and that's what I also think. Any other questions? Let's keep this going for another 3 to 4 minutes. I can then ask you guys anything else. Again, hey, another first year from college. How's it going, buddy? A lot of first years and second years from college. That's the main reason why I made this entire month to talk about programming. All right, so I'm first year of college, and for Flutter for 4 native development and working anymore. Okay, so just learn the basics of Flutter and understand the Flutter is just very very simple to learn. Nothing much to learn. You have about 45 widgets. You have to understand how these widgets work, and there are a few state management techniques that you can use. Just understand how these things work, and that's it. That's pretty much it. You have at the max 2 months of course material to learn. But Android is much more deeper. You just have to understand the native development of things. I don't think Android going anywhere out of sight for at least another 5 years. If it does, then it's going to be a huge hit. Do not worry much about the future of things. If you ask me, I would say just go with Android development, native Android development first, and understand how different things, right from the basics of Android, like how the garbage collection, how the system memory profiling, how you can do internationalization, localization, how do you change languages. When you just do all of these things, understand that through Android's native Android development. If you have interest in iOS development, you can still do that native iOS, like Objective C or Swift. you can do that. But again, if you don't want that, that's also another not a problem. If you once you pick up this native, native understanding of things, and then you come to Flutter, it's not going to be anything big. You'll find that okay, this is there, but again, how, okay, it's cool and everything. It's obviously UI is amazing and everything, but what else can I do with it, right? What else can I go forward with it? It's still in a lot of things are in a nascent, in a beta stages, and I appreciate that Google is doing a lot of things. They came out with the Google Pay application in Flutter and everything. They are doing their fair share of promoting the Flutter as a toolkit. But if you ask as a beginner, think about Android development natively. Just think about doing that natively, and then you can move forward. Flutter is just just like a, I would say, a supplementary course material. You can know that it's not going to go away anywhere, but Android is very important. That's what my answer is going to be for this question. Alright guys, I think this been going for more than 15 minutes. I'm gonna drop this off and probably answer any other questions in the comment section. It's been amazing talking to everybody. Today has been a great day, and I would say probably the next month, December of 2020, probably the last month. I'm going to be doing few things, changing my desk, obviously changing things around here, and also dropping few other course related updates. I have few updates on that, and I'm pretty much understanding, or I would pretty much appreciate if you guys can give me your honest feedback on all of that, and I'll be talking to you guys about that in upcoming weeks. Again, if you guys are interested to know more about any topic, drop that question in any of the videos, and I'll be happy to pick that up and answer in any of my other videos, or probably another live stream I can do that. So that's what I'm going to be doing, and probably that's it for this video. Again, thanks so much for everybody for joining. I'll meet you all in the next video, on the next live stream, whatever comes first. Until then, Bharat, peace out. Have a super awesome day.